Top 5 ways the USA built its economy. How did the United States become the world's largest economy from a group of colonies to a global superpower? In this video, we break down the top 5 pillars that built the American economy, from industrial might and immigration to Wall Street and Silicon Valley. Chapter 1. Historical background. It all began in the late 1700s, when 13 British colonies declared independence and formed the United States. With vast land, abundant resources, and a growing wave of immigrants, the country industrialized rapidly during the 1800s. The 19th century saw explosive growth in railroads, steel, and oil driven by industrialists like Andrew Carnegie and John D. Rockefeller. After surviving the Great Depression and World War II, America emerged as the world's dominant economy. The post-war years fueled mass consumerism, innovation, and global influence. The digital age led by Silicon Valley cemented the U.S. as a technology powerhouse. Chapter 2. Top 5 turning points to economy. First, the industrial expansion of the 19th century. The U.S. rapidly evolved from an agrarian society into a manufacturing giant. Railroads connected the coasts, while steel and oil drove infrastructure and growth. Entrepreneurs like Edison and Ford revolutionized industries with invention and mass production. Second, the New Deal and post-war boom. After the Great Depression, President Franklin D. Roosevelt launched the New Deal, creating jobs, banks, and Social Security. Post-World War II, returning soldiers fueled demand for homes, cars, and consumer goods, ushering in the golden age of American capitalism. Third, the rise of Wall Street. During the 1980s, deregulation and financial innovation turned Wall Street into a global finance hub. Investment banks, hedge funds, and the stock market expanded the influence of finance over the broader economy, making New York City the economic capital of the world. Fourth, the tech revolution. From the 1990s onward, Silicon Valley reshaped the global economy. Companies like Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Google, and Meta led breakthroughs in personal computing, e-commerce, and AI. U.S. tech companies now dominate the world in terms of valuation and innovation. Fifth, the energy and innovation boom. The U.S. became the world's top oil and gas producer thanks to shale technology. While investing heavily in renewable energy and electric vehicles, innovation is also driving advances in space tech, biotech, and semiconductors, supported by public and private R&D. Chapter 3. America's GDP and its major contributing sectors. As of 2025, the United States maintains its position as the world's largest economy, with a nominal GDP of approximately $30.34 trillion, accounting for about 26.3% of the global economy. Now let's break down the top 5 sectors of the U.S. economy based on their contribution to GDP and employment. First, the services sector. This is the backbone of the U.S. economy and includes finance, healthcare, retail, education, and it contributes over 77% of the GDP and employs around 80% of the U.S. workforce. Second, manufacturing. This includes aerospace, automotive, electronics, and machinery. Though it has declined in relative size, it remains essential. It contributes around 11% to GDP and employs about 8.5% of the workforce. Third, healthcare and social assistance. Covering hospitals, elder care, and clinics, this is one of the largest employers, contributes roughly 9% to GDP, and employs about 14% of Americans. Fourth, finance and insurance. This sector powers investments, credit, and risk management. It contributes around 8.5% to GDP and employs approximately 6% of the workforce. Fifth, technology and information. This includes software, data, cloud services, and communications. It contributes between 6% and 7% to GDP and employs around 3% to 4% of the population. Chapter 4. Top 5 major challenges facing the U.S. economy. First, income inequality. The wealth gap continues to widen, with asset ownership and access to education and healthcare heavily skewed. Second, rising national debt. The U.S. federal debt has crossed $34 trillion, raising concerns about long-term economic stability. Third, global competition. Countries like China are rapidly catching up in areas like AI, clean tech, and manufacturing. Fourth, labor shortages and skills gaps. Industries like healthcare, tech, and construction are struggling to find trained workers due to demographic shifts and education mismatches. Fifth, climate and infrastructure resilience. Aging infrastructure and climate-related disasters demand urgent investments in rebuilding and clean energy. Chapter 5. The Future Vision. The future of the U.S. economy lies in technology, sustainability, and rebuilding key industries. Policies like the CHIPS Act and Inflation Reduction Act aim to boost domestic production, green energy, and innovation. The U.S. is also reshaping global supply chains and strengthening trade with allies. With its innovation ecosystem, global financial power, and entrepreneurial spirit, the U.S. is gearing up for a future led by resilience and leadership in emerging technologies. Please subscribe to Toppy 5 if you are interested to learn how various countries evolved over time across the globe.